Florida is still no doubt one of the best places to live in the entire United States. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be here anymore. But just like anywhere else, there are the pros and cons of living here. And I did make a video on this topic a little over a year ago, which I will have linked below. And if I don't cover something in this video that you think should be in this video, one, chances are it probably was in the last video. I highly recommend you go and check it out. And two, feel free to make a comment below and we can discuss it down there. The first thing, Florida is getting crowded, guys. Between the year 2010 and the year 2020, over 2.7 million people have moved to Florida. That's a lot of people moving in, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. So if you are coming here, you know, you're gonna have to get used to just things being more crowded than you've ever seen it down here before. Me, somebody who's lived down here almost 14 years now, it's definitely a noticeable difference. Just trying to go anywhere normal on the road, it seems to just take longer. There's more cars, there's more lines, there's more everything. So get ready for that. But on the plus side of this, if you are a business owner down here and you rely on foot traffic for your business like a lot of businesses do, or tourism, this can be an excellent opportunity for you, which we'll get into more later in this video. Obviously, if you want to make money in business, you need people visiting your store, and with more people coming down here, you have more potential customers than ever before. It's getting hotter, and most notably, it's getting hotter here at nighttime. I recently made a video about this. I'll link that one down below as well. And this is not just like an imaginative thing. This is real scientific data that Florida actually is getting hotter, most notably during the nighttime hours of the day. This is something that you can definitely feel that's happening down here, especially if you live in the southern half of the state like I do. But a lot of these recordings were actually found in the northern part of the state. But the plus side to this, guys, is if you like it hot and you like those hot, steamy nights, then this is perfect for you because it's just getting hotter here. It's not getting colder. It's getting more expensive than ever to live here. A lot of these places that are the most popular places to live in Florida, like Tampa and Orlando and Miami down here, places in the Florida Panhandle, St. Augustine, you name it, prices have been going through the roof, especially since the last year. And you know, a lot of these places, it's not uncommon now to see double-digit appreciation from year over year. I did another video on this. As you can see, I've kind of covered all these topics in the past in individual videos, and a lot of the most popular places down here, prices have gone up between 8 and 14% just in the last year. So buying a home here is basically more expensive than it ever has been in the past. And that's a big problem for people that already live here and for people looking to move here, because it just raises the competition. It also puts the market in a vulnerable place where you are paying more for a property than anyone else has ever paid for it. And if there is a market downturn, you could be the one left holding the bag if you recently purchased real estate down here. But on the flip side, if you're rich, this is no big deal. A lot of people are coming here from way more expensive states like California and New York and Illinois. And guess what? Buying a house down here in Florida for those people, a lot of times is still a bargain, and they think that we're complaining here in Florida that it's too expensive when over there it's way more expensive, but it's all relative, right? You know, if you've lived in Florida your whole life, like a lot of people have, and you see houses that used to cost 150, 200 grand, they're now in the market for over 400K. And that's just the sad reality of where we're at right now. So just keep that in mind if you're moving to Florida in 2022. If you currently live in Florida, you might have gotten one of these in the mail recently, and I'll give you a close-up here so you can see what this is. This is a letter from Citizens Insurance that is basically stating that if you have a house that has a roof on it that's 25 years or older, they're no longer going to insure your property starting at the beginning of 2022 unless the roof is completely replaced. And anybody who's ever replaced a roof before, it's a very expensive upgrade to your home. This is a new thing they've put into effect just recently down here in Florida. I'm not sure if this is happening in other areas of the country, but it is happening here. So if you're looking to buy a house right now, number one, you need to make sure that the house has a roof that is under 25 years old, because if not, you're gonna get hit with the bill to replace this roof. On the flip side, if you are buying a newer house, especially a new construction home or a home that was built in the last 10 or 15 years, you shouldn't have to worry about this, but I want to put this out there because this is definitely a con, and it's only a pro if you're buying a new house. Red tide is a problem. I visited the Gulf Coast of Florida back in April and May of 2021, and I got really lucky and didn't really experience any red tide. I think we may have experienced a slight bout of red tide down in Bonita Springs because the air felt very musty and there was like a dusty feeling when you breathe in the air, and it was making both Lizzie and I cough. I'm not sure if that was red tide, but it probably was. And it turns out during a lot of the summer this year, the Gulf Coast got hit with red tide quite a bit in different areas, and that can really ruin your experience living down here in Florida. So that's something to watch out for. The pro of this basically is that you're just getting lucky if you're not experiencing this, because not everywhere on the Gulf Coast gets red tide, and you can be at a beach that has red tide and go 20 miles north or south and there's no red tide. So something to keep in mind, especially if you're moving to the Gulf Coast. We don't really get red tide over here on the east coast of Florida. Sometimes we do have bacterial warnings where there's a high amount of bacteria in the water and you're not supposed to get in. That doesn't happen too often, and the good thing is it's not like red tide where it can last for weeks or months. It might just be a couple of days with that warning, and then you're good to go. So in general, we don't really have this issue on the east coast of Florida. Something else to keep in mind if you're moving here. Now, in those last few points, I kind of started with the negative points and then moved on to the positive. So let's move on to starting with the positive point, and then we'll get over to the negative side, okay? Down in Florida, we are free. We don't have any vaccine passports down here. We don't have any more mask mandates. We can just live life normal like we're supposed to. And a lot of people down here love that, including me. Guess what? The con of this is if you're from somewhere that you believe that you should be doing all these things still, then coming to Florida probably isn't going to be the right decision for you, because people here are just over it. Basically, here in Florida, a lot of people are of the mindset that you should be free to choose however you want to live your life, and a lot of people here are okay with that, including myself. If you are okay with, people making their own decisions when it comes to masking and taking the vaccine and whatnot, then Florida could be right for you. Another good thing, no state income tax in Florida. I have covered this in past videos, but this is becoming more and more important because there aren't that many states in the United States that have no income tax, and a lot of people are fleeing these high tax states and moving into states that have no income tax, because especially if you have a significant salary and your job allows you now to work remotely, people are moving into these places because why not? If you can save, 13% of your money every year, or even just 6% that you weren't getting before, that amount saved over time can add up to a huge amount of extra money saved and can definitely increase your quality of life, and this is highly contributing to people moving here as well. But on the flip side of this, the cost of many other things are going up, like the cost of housing, like we already talked about. Even groceries are going up here. One of the most expensive things that are rising lately are property taxes in a lot of different areas. So if you are buying a house here, you're going to be buying at peak market record levels here. And guess what? That price that you just bought it on is going to be assessed and taken into consideration when you buy your new house, and your property taxes on that place are most likely going to be higher than what the previous owner was paying. Also, related to real estate, rent prices are going up too. Just in my neighborhood alone where I live here, you used to be able to rent a one bedroom around here for like $1,200-1,300. Now it's $1,600, and that's just one small example, but you get the idea of just how much things have gone up in the last few months down here in Florida. Now, Florida is an excellent place to open up a business. We kind of talked about this right at the beginning of the video, but in general, Florida has some very business-friendly tax laws, especially when it comes to corporate taxes, and a lot of major companies have been relocating to Florida in the last couple of years, similar to residents seeking the no income tax. So Florida is a very business-friendly state, and it's probably one of the best places in the whole country to come and open up a business right now. But the flip side of that, guys, is just a lot of new businesses don't succeed. This is not just a Florida thing, But just keep in mind, if you come here and you open up a business, you really need to have a well thought out plan and analyze your competition before you do it. But just to give you a heads up, there are some businesses here that I think you could open up right now that will do very well. Like for instance, a handyman service. Pretty much anywhere in Florida, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to find somebody reliable that can just come and do a little drywall job for you, or fix one of your appliances, change the light fixture in your kitchen, whatever it might be. This is something that people really need, and everybody here is so flaky and so unreliable when it comes to this. So I highly recommend maybe a handyman business and even maybe a good restaurant. Now I know this is hard and highly subjective to really understand what is a good restaurant, but to me a good restaurant is somewhere that the prices are not unreasonable, the food is amazing, and if you have just those two ingredients when it comes to the restaurant, you don't even need to do advertising. Word of mouth is going to get around that your restaurant is amazing, and people are going to be flocking to the place, and we are in desperate need of more restaurants like that down here in Florida. Another pro, it's very easy to get a job down here in Florida. People ask me a lot about jobs, and I'm not the best person to talk about jobs considering I haven't had an actual job in about 13 years now. But on the flip side, even though it's easy to get a job here, keep in mind that whatever job you end up getting, first of all, might not be the job that you want to get down here. And also, one thing I've heard from a lot of people who have relocated to Florida is that if they get the same job down here in Florida, that same job pays less than the state that they're moving from a lot of times. So just keep that in mind as well. You could end up, taking a little bit of a pay cut moving here to Florida, working the same job you are working in another place. And one of the best things about living down here in Florida is that you're close to everything you could ever want. You're never more than a couple hours drive away from Florida's amazing theme parks, our awesome beaches, maybe a forest, or a good retirement community for folks looking to come down here and retire. Anywhere you turn around, there's great fishing spots, you name it. You're never more than an hour or two drive, or maybe even closer if you're lucky, away from all these places. And that's one of the best things about living down here. But on the flip side, that's like one of the main reasons people are moving here, and all these places are becoming just more congested, kind of like what we talked about in the beginning. So if you do want to go to the beach one day, or go to Disney, or go to a good fishing spot, so just make sure you try and go to these places during off-peak times if you can, because when all these spots are extremely crowded, it can make it very difficult to really enjoy yourself and just have a good time and experiencing these beautiful things that Florida has to offer. And for anybody looking to move to Florida in the near future, go ahead and give us a call. All of our info is down below. If you made it this far and you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and check out my very first pros and cons of living in Florida video. It has a ton of things I didn't discuss in this video. Check it out right over here, and I'll see you guys over there.